So anyway, if you're just joining us, if you weren't here the last couple of weeks, we're in a series called The Unstoppable Church. Last week we talked about the unstoppable body. Together in the church body, we're unstoppable. And next week we're going to talk about unstoppable men. Okay, because it's Father's Day, so we'll talk about unstoppable men. And ladies, don't get jealous. Maybe the week after that I'll do unstoppable women. I don't know. Not sure yet. But today we're talking about unstoppable community. And our foundational text once again is Matthew 16:18. And it says, "Upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers," everybody say, all the powers of hell will not conquer it. You are unbeatable. Today, unstoppable, again, I said it the last 2 weeks, the definition for unstoppable is impossible to stop or prevent, cannot be surpassed, unbeatable. Okay, you are unbeatable. You can't be beaten. All right, and the reason why we're unstoppable, because the first week we talked about our unstoppable leader, which is Jesus Christ. That's why we're unstoppable. And we come together in an unstoppable community. When we come together, we grow and we'll walk in that unstoppable promise that Jesus gave to us. Man, we can't be beaten. We can't. And since the beginning of time, everybody had a desire to be alone, belong to people. All right, they wanted to be accepted. They wanted to be loved. It begins at an early age. If you've ever dropped off kids at a daycare or preschool, by the end of the day, you'll notice that those kids get together in little groups. They want to form a community of little kids. Now, you'll always have that one little kid standing by himself, but that's not normal, okay? It's normal for people to get together and form a community. And, we have a desire to fit in. We want to fit in. Look at the ridiculous fashions that's taken place over the course of the history of the world. All right. I went through a little rabbit hole of studying things, that weird fashions and weird trends throughout the ages. And in the 1700s, all right, they had this trend where dyeing your teeth black was a thing. Okay. Dyeing your teeth black, this was actually a thing. So what happened was, I'm going to describe this, and this is kind of weird, but in the 17 and 1800s, sugar was a hot commodity. It was expensive, okay? So poor people, common people, they couldn't afford sugar, so only royalty was able to afford sugar. So the royalty ate sugar plums and just all kind of other sweets, and they just gorged themselves. And what happened was, you see, what was not popular back in the 17 and 1800s was brushing your teeth, okay? So the royalty, their teeth would turn black with cavities, and they would start to rot out. So the commoners and the lower level people, they thought, you know what, we want to be like the rich people. We want to look like the rich people. So we're going to dye our teeth black just to look like them so we can fit in. So that teeth dyeing was a thing. And it wasn't a thing, nowadays trends last a year or two. This lasted for decades. Into the 1800s, people would dye their teeth black. Then for the sake of time, we're going to fast forward to the 60s. Okay, women, what were you thinking? I don't know I'm not going to point fingers, but I know there's probably some people old enough in this place to have maybe worn this outfit. Lime green. Now, growing up in the 70s, we had lime green countertops, we had lime green toilets and sinks and stuff like that, but y'all were wearing this stuff, all right? And that's a hit. But not to tease them, we fast forward again to the 80s. We had mullets and parachute pants, all right? Yeah, those were cool. And that's one of the sweetest mullets in all of TV history right there, John Stamos. And I'm proud to say that I once had a mullet, and I once had parachute pants. I had a pair of black, I had a pair of white parachute pants. And this was the early 80s. The later 80s, you had I don't know if y'all remember this, but you had these parachute pants that had the zipper down the side, and you had to unzip it, and it would open up, and it was another color in there. Sweet. It was so sweet. So fast forward to the 2000s, you had frosted tip hair and rompers. Now, rompers is, Neil's talking about getting an American flag romper, and so he still wants to bring that back, put that in. So we got weird trends. Now, before I show this next picture, I'm going to give you a little background. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Idiocracy. In the movie Idiocracy, the fashion designers of this movie thought, you know what, we're going to give these people shoes that's made from this obsolete company nobody knows of, and so they can't sue us when we put it in the movie. We're going to get those shoes. These shoes are going to be so ugly. Everybody's going to be wearing them in the movie, and they're going to be so ugly. They're going to be hideous, so it's never going to catch on. 20 years later, we got Crocs. All right, and I know some of you guys, probably half of you guys wear these things, all right, Crocs, and this started, there's no way that's going to get popular, but people do things to fit in, okay, we do things to fill in. Let me share this one before I forget about it. There was this one trend called the Alexandra limp, okay, and what it was is the Princess of Wales, she was like, people look to royalty, what should we wear? Well, what's the Princess of Wales wearing? Oh, we're going to wear that. Well, the poor darling, she got sick, okay? She got so sick that she started walking with a limp, and for the rest of her life, she walked with a limp. And it became popular to walk with a limp. They were teasing the woman, but they wanted to fit in. They wanted to fit in. Everybody wants to be part of a community. Now, there was a survey done, and a question during the survey, one of the questions was, why do you attend church? And the number one answer why people attend church was to worship God. I don't fully agree with that. Now, before you say, how could you not agree with that? You go to church to worship God. You can worship God at your house. You can worship God while you're at the gym. You can worship God while you're doing your yard work. My prime time to worship God used to be when I was driving a truck for a living. I mean, I had some revival, some Holy Ghost revival moments in that truck by myself, all right? Sometimes I find it hard to worship God in church, okay? I don't know if you guys ever been to a church big enough that they had a cameraman walking around, videotaping everybody worshiping, but I find it hard to worship in that church service where there's a camera going around because, you don't want to be caught not worshiping God. All right, they're walking around, they're filming everybody, so you're like, oh, they're right there. Hold it. Talk to yourself so it looks like you're praying, and hold. All right. Whew. You don't, and it hinders you. The number one reason I believe people go to church, it all boils down to this, is connectivity with other believers. That's the number one reason. It's to bring the hand together with the foot, with the knee, to the torso and the head. It's to bring everything together and have associations and have a relationship with each other, to connect to the body. That's the entire purpose. The entire purpose of church is relationships. Because if it's not, why are we here? Because you can worship God at home. And by the way, if you're only worshiping God on Sunday mornings, then it's probably safe to say that your spiritual life is lacking. We need to worship God 7 days a week. Ephesians 4:16 says, He makes the whole body fit together perfectly. As each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts grow so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. We need each other. Okay, we're a community. Romans 12:5 says, so it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body, and we all belong to each other. Look at your neighbor and say, we belong to each other. So here's the big idea. We are better together. We're better. That's a slogan, a motto that this church has been using for the last 5 years. We're better together. We're better working together. Matthew 12:25 says, every kingdom divided against itself will be ruined, and every city or household divided against itself will not stand. So the enemy comes to steal and to kill and destroy. He comes to tear us apart. He breaks us apart. He tears families apart. He tears churches apart. He knows that if he can divide us, he won. He won. So the solution to this is Philippians 2:1-4 in the Message version. It says, if you've gotten anything at all out of following Christ, if his love has made any difference in your life, if being in a community of the Spirit means anything to you, if you have a heart, if you care, then do me a favor. Agree with each other. Love each other. Be deep-spirited friends. And I love this. It's not just, hi, how are you? God bless you. How are you? God bless you. And then you go sit down and you don't talk to anybody until next Sunday when I ask you guys to greet each other again. It's deep-spirited friendships that we need to form. Verse 3 says, don't push push your way to the front. Don't sweet talk your way to the top. Put yourself aside and help others get ahead. It's not about you. Okay, it's not about you. Don't be obsessed with getting your own advantage. Forget yourselves long enough to lend a helping hand. It's about helping one another. It's about preferring each other. When we have that revelation that we're connected, it's going to help you succeed. It's going to help you win. And you know what? If I step up and I say, I want to help you win, guess what? And you win, I win too. We help each other. If I win, you win. So if we're connected, if one of us wins, we all win. As a community, we all come together and we win because we're connected. We have listened to the lies of the enemy way too long. Way too long. And I have 5 reasons why we need community in your notes if you have notes this morning. Number 1 is I need people who walk with me. I need people who will walk with me. Matthew 4:19 says, Jesus called out to them, come follow me. I will show you how to fish for people. This was the first thing Jesus did. He didn't tell them what to do. He didn't try to push a spiritual clout and say, hey, you need to go do this. He said, no, come alongside of me. Walk with me. Let's do life together. Let's hang out together and do this thing, figure this thing out. God never intended you to walk through life alone. You're not supposed to walk through life alone. Life is a team sport. Genesis 2:18 says, it is not good for man to be alone. And it's not just talking about marriage here, okay? Because I know married people that are lonely. There's a lot of married people out there that are lonely. This verse isn't just about Adam and Eve. It's about humanity. It's about coming together in a community. He created us to live in a community. And if you're lonely, it's usually by choice that you're lonely. Okay? And some people just like to wallow, oh, woe is me. I have no friends. No friends. And in the words of my former pastor, Walt Rose in Thibodeau, he said, go to Lowe's, get a ladder, and get over it. Okay? There are 8 billion people on this planet. If you're lonely, it's usually because you choose to be lonely. You don't want to venture out. You don't want friendships. It's your fault if you're lonely. And I'm not talking about depression or anything like that or chemical, stuff. I'm talking about if you choose not to hang out with people, and it's your fault. We're a community. We're meant to be together. This is something that we need to be intentional with because God created us to be in relationships. He created us for each other. When He created us, He didn't create us to be His slaves, okay? He created us to be His friends. God wants to be our friends. We were created in His image, so we're social beings. God's a social God. God the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, all together. We're social beings. 3 reasons why God would want us to walk together is, first of all, it's safer. Okay? It's safer to walk together. I'll brag a little bit. I'm a small guy, but I'm strong, okay? And I'll brag a little more. I've never lost a fight in my life, and I've gotten in about 40 fights, okay? Because I think I picked the right people to fight. I don't know. But as strong as I am and as good as I think I can fight, well, I haven't fought in like 25 years, so I might not be able to fight anymore. But I would never walk in a dark alley in the French Quarter at night. I wouldn't. It's dumb, all right? But if I had Mike walking with me, Mike, you're like 6'4", 6'5", something like that? If I had him with me, if I had Neil with me, Neil's a big guy. If I had Fabian back there with me, you know what? I'll walk down that alley like this, and I'll really have to inflate myself to try to get to their size, but, it's safer to walk together in groups. The second one is it's supportive. When you have people alongside of you, edging you on, it keeps you from quitting too soon. There's an old Zambian proverb that says, when you run alone, you run fast, but when you run together, you run far. And C, it's smarter. It's just smarter. Teams are better together. I was telling, who was I telling the other day? Taylor. We were talking about endurance races. And an endurance race, you can't run an endurance race by yourself. You need a team. They won't, if you're by yourself, you got to go find 3 other people because they won't let you run a 400-mile race by yourself because you could die and nobody will know where you're at. So you got to run in a team. And it's that team together, they build each other up. They're edging each other on. They're like, come on, you can do this, you can do this. Because if one of them quits, the whole team is over. So the teamwork is important. It's important to work together because it's smarter. You got people helping you out. God created two groups so that you wouldn't have to be alone. First of all, he created a physical family. Right? He created a group for you to be with that shares your DNA, that shares your heritage, that might share your bad habits. You know, he created that family, but he also created a church family to be part of. And we come together as family units, and we come together corporately, and we help one another. Just as your family's there to help you, we're here to help each other. We're a community. Hebrews 10:25 says, "And let us not neglect our meeting together as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near." He's coming back. Okay? He is coming back. I am so sure of this. I'm more sure of this than anything I've ever been sure of. God is coming back. So we need to be there for each other, building each other up, encouraging each other, check on each other. This community is God's answer to loneliness. Community. If you're lonely, God has an answer. And I got a text the other day from the One Accord people. I think, Pastor Randy, I think you got the same text. It said that community is made up of two words, common and unity. Common unity. The early church got it. Okay, the early church hung out together. It wasn't about punching a clock. It wasn't about, well, I got to go to church today. If I don't go to church today, pastor's going to wonder where I'm at. I got to go to church. Or I got to go to church today because so-and-so is going to ask about me. They're going to think I'm sinning because I missed last Sunday and I can't miss this Sunday too. You know, I got to go. Back then it was a way of life. You did church. It was like this. I get to go to church today. We're going to church today. Let's go. Get up. I don't care if you're up till 2 o'clock playing video games. Get up. You know, hype each other up. Go to church. Now, in the late 90s to early 2000s, some of you guys might remember this, but I think it was Yahoo had public chat rooms, and you can go and find chat rooms to get involved with. And there was this Christian chat room that I was in, and I was talking to this guy, and he was telling me about how excited he was to go to church. And I'm like, man, if people around here can get excited to go to church. He later told me that, you know, if people in his town, because he was from the Middle East, if people in his town found out that he was going to church, he could be executed. Executed for going to church. But he said that it was so important to get together with people of like beliefs that he would risk his life. He said he wanted to go to church so that he could build up his brother and sister in the Lord. He was excited to go to church, facing death. Some of us, we wake up and it's too hot outside. We're like, I'm not going to church. No, I got a fever blister. I'm going to stay home because that's going to look weird. Acts 2:46 and 47 says, every day, not just Sunday mornings, not just 1 out of 7 days, but every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes. They ate together with glad, sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily to those who were being saved. They shared life together. It wasn't once a week thing or twice a week. Pursuing and building friendships is a lost art in our society. When's the last time you invited somebody over to your house for coffee or dessert? I remember me and Danielle were talking about this the other day. And back in the 90s and early 2000s, we used to, before we go to church, we'd put a meal in the slow cooker, like a 5-pound roast or something like that. And we'd go to church, and we would say, all right, who are we going to invite to come eat over? How many of you guys used to do that? After church, you would invite people over? All right, just a few people, yeah. We would invite people over. We would go to their house, or they would invite us, and we'd go to their house. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. When's the last time after church, you went up to somebody and said, hey, let's go grab a burger or something? You know, get together. And now, not to make it weird, but I want to encourage that, but go Dutch. So you're not, you don't have that awkward moment at the table where, all right, who's going to pay for this? They invited me, they should pay for it. No, just go Dutch. Invite somebody to go out and have lunch with you. Build the community. If you don't know anybody in this church, it's because you haven't talked to anybody in this church. Because I know a lot of you guys, and most of y'all are friendly. Talk to people. Let's get back to being an active community instead of every man for himself. Second reason why I need community is I need people who work with me. I need people who's going to work with me. God has given us a plan. He's given us a purpose. He's given us things to accomplish. Okay? I can't win the town of Berwick to the Lord by myself. I can't do that. It's not solely my job. A lot of people think, oh, you're the pastor. It's your job to win. It's not my job. It's our job to win the town of Berwick. I can't do it on my own. I need each and every one of you guys doing it. It takes us working together, because together we can accomplish more. We can talk to more people. You might be able to talk to somebody that I'll never talk to, and vice versa. God's plan for you is bigger than you, and it can't be done alone. Ephesians 4:16 says, as each part does its work, it helps the other parts grow. So Christ's whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. You weren't born to help you succeed. You were born to help others succeed. He doesn't want you to do it by yourself. If you try to do it by yourself, you're going to get worn out. Okay? I know a lot of pastors that have burnt out because they try to run the church by themselves. And I'll be up here and boldly say, I can't do it on my own. I need all of you. I need my two youth pastors and associate pastors. I need my children's pastors. I need you guys doing your part. If I try to do it on my own, I'm quitting. I can't. But I know I got people behind me to help me through it. So we need to work as a community for each other. If you're worn out, you're doing too much. You shouldn't be worn out. Community is God's answer to fatigue. Two people can get more accomplished. Galatians 6:10 says, every time we get the chance, let us work for the benefit of all, starting with the people closest to us in the community of faith. I want us to be able to call upon each other. My dream is to reach out into this community and be a true lighthouse. But before we reach out into the community, I want us to be comfortable with talking to each other and building this community and this church together. So we need people to walk with me, need people to work with me, and number 3, I need people who will fight for me. I need people who's going to stand up and defend me. I need people that when they're out there in the store and somebody's slandering my name, somebody will say, hey, don't talk about my pastor like that. He didn't do nothing. He didn't do that. That's wrong. I'm a transparent person. All of you probably know everything about me because I'm transparent. So if anybody's talking trash about me, defend me. Because if I'm in a store and I hear somebody talking about Mike, I'm going to say, you know what? I know Mike. Mike's my friend, and Mike is not like that. Defend each other. Fight for each other. We need somebody who will come alongside of us and hold us when we're feeling like we can't stand on our own. Philippians 2:4 says, don't look out only for your own interests, but take interest in others too. This may surprise some of you guys, but you are not the main character of this story. Okay? And I've said this in the past. I'm not the main character in the story. Okay? Probably you know who might be the main character in the story? Some little kid in children's church right now. And we're just side characters, paving the way for them to become the next Billy Graham, the next Joyce Meyer, the next Jeannie Mayo, somebody like that. Look out for one another. Let's help other people accomplish what God has for their future. How many of you, when you go on vacation, you ask someone to watch your house or feed your dog or water your plants? Or most of us, when we go check your mail, we ask somebody to do something for us. Okay? Well, you want to know what's crazy? We have people watch our house. We trust people to go into our house and feed our pet. But we won't ask people to watch our soul. We won't ask people to watch our soul. And how much more important is it to watch somebody's soul? You know, instead of organize a neighborhood watch for your house, organize a neighborhood watch for your soul. Your soul is a lot more important than your house. So it's like this. If you have a problem with patience, which probably 95% of you in here has a problem with your patience, find one person that has overcome that, and they're a patient person. Say, hey, can you look out for me? When you see me getting a little edgy, can you kind of like, pop me upside the head or something? If you're dealing with anger issues, find somebody that's not dealing with anger issues. Hey, can you help me out? I get angry a lot, all right? If your ego is getting overinflated and you're prideful, find somebody that ain't afraid to walk up to you with a pen and say, hey, let me deflate you a little bit. Your head's getting a little big to walk through that door. But who's doing that for you? Who's got your back spiritually? Because, guys, there's a real enemy out there. The devil wants to tear you up. Every day he's devising a plan to destroy you. I hear people selling their soul to the devil. They might sell their soul to the devil, but he hates you just as much. And we usually don't recognize him because, unfortunately, he doesn't wear a red suit and horns and a pitchfork and all that stuff like that. He comes as somebody that you start to trust, that you can turn your back on, and he'll get you in the blind side. Jesus taught us that where there's power, there is power where we fight together. Matthew 18:19 and 20 says, I also tell you this, if two of you agree here on earth concerning anything you ask, my Father in heaven will do it for you. For where two or three gather together as my followers, I am there among them. Ecclesiastes 4:12 says, a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. Life is a team sport. Life is meant to be played together. You don't play it on your own. Community is God's answer to defeat. If we work together as a community, we can't be defeated. We are unstoppable. Ecclesiastes 4:10 says, if one person fails, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. So people who will work with me, and the fourth reason I need community, I need people who cry with me. Men, this is for you too. It's for men too. A lot of men want to be tough and I can't cry, I got to keep it in. And you know what? It's not about having a pity party. It's about having somebody there. I need people that will be with me during my crisis of life. When I'm going through something, I'll need other men. And women, you need other women to just help you stand when things are going on. And this one's personal because as a pastor, I see way too many people suffering alone. Way too many people just struggling alone. Why would somebody do that alone? And look, I'm guilty for doing this in the past. I've done this in the past. I've tried to do it on my own in the past. It's because we believe the lies of the enemy. We believe that he's whispering in your ear and he's saying, you know what? Nobody cares about your problems. Everybody's got their own problem, so they don't have time to help you with your problem. So don't even add. Just keep it to yourself. Bottle it up. Nobody has time to deal with you. That's the enemy. So many people go through it all alone because they believe these lies. They convince themselves. 1 Peter 3:8 says you should be like one big family, full of sympathy toward each other. When we get bad news, we need people in our life. 1 Corinthians 12:26 says if one part suffers, every part suffers with it. And this is because the biblical model, it works together. It works together. The whole body of Christ, church doing ministry together. And people use the excuse, well, I don't reach out to them because I don't know what to say. And I'll be honest with you, most of the time when somebody comes to me with something, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to react. But you know what? I know I can love them. I can hold them. I can cry with them. I can be a shoulder for someone just to vent. I can point them to God. Has anyone in here ever stubbed a toe? Nobody? Just me? Okay. All right. Let me give you an illustration of how the body works, okay? So you're walking into your bedroom and it's nighttime, and you're walking in the living room and you stub your toe on the foot of the bed or the leg of the coffee table, and your brain says something happened. So your brain looks down and sees your toe all jacked up. So your hand says, hey, I want to get involved. So your hand goes, oh, let me caress that toe. Let me hold it. The other hand's jealous too, so it's like, oh my goodness, we're holding this toe. And then your vocal cords get jealous and they want to get involved. And they're like, ah! And then your leg wants to get involved, so it's balancing you the whole time, and you hop over and you fall into bed. So if somebody walked in your room or your house and seen your toe all mangled up, and they said, just cut it off, wouldn't that be weird? Yeah. That'd be weird. When people are around you hurting, they need to know that you're there for them. They need to know that you're not going to cut them out of their lives, your life, just because they're hurting. They need to know that they're not alone. Remember, the devil wants people to think that. The devil wants people to think nobody cares what you're going through. They want you to think that. There's a lot of people in this room that are here for you. A lot. Community is God's answer to despair. You need people around you. You need friends. You need a small group. Romans 12:15 says, be happy with those who are happy and weep with those who weep. Let me give you a friend test. If you want $1 million, okay, who would you call and tell about that $1 million? Most of us wouldn't call our family because they'd come like this, But who's that friend that you would call, that friend that you said, hey, I want $1 million, and that friend would go, awesome, what are you going to do? Where are you going? That's excited with you, that's there for you, that's just going to pump you up and go, yeah, that's awesome. Man, you deserve this. Can I come with you? You need a friend that says, man, I'm glad you got that raise. I'm glad you got that promotion. I'm so glad that you were able to, whatever you celebrate in life. You need to have that person that's going to be there for you, building you up and just encouraging you. But then, who do you call when you just got bad news? When you just found out you got cancer? Who do you call? They wouldn't pray for me anyway. Probably wish I was dead anyway. Who do you have in your circle? Who's in your circle that you can trust, that you can call on? That will tell you if your family or friends is full or if it's empty. If you ask yourself those two questions, who are you going to call on? We need to grow there. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, so encourage each other and build each other up, just as you are already doing. Last reason for community, number 5, I need people who will partner with me. Together, we're on a mission to make a difference in this world. We're on a mission to make a difference in Berwick. This is for all who want to do something bigger than themselves. Philippians 1:27 says, you are working together and struggling side by side to get others to believe the good news. Luke 5:4-7 says, when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, now go out where it's deeper and let down your nets to catch some fish. Master, Simon replied, we worked hard all night and didn't catch a thing. But if you say so, I'll let the nets down again. See, whenever you sacrifice something, whenever you offer something up to God, he's always going to bless you. Okay? He gave his boat to Jesus, and Jesus filled his boat. And what did they do? At this time, their nets were so full of fish, they began to tear. A shout for help brought their partners in the other boat. They said, hey, come on, guys, we're loading the boats up. We need more boats. Come on. You guys are my friends. Y'all my community. We need help. And soon both boats were filled with fish on the verge of sinking. Deuteronomy 32:30 says, one man will chase 1,000, two put 10,000 to flight. Community is God's answer to significance. If you're saying, I want my life to count, I want to make a difference, partner with us here at Lighthouse Community Church. If you want to be part of community, partner with us. Get involved with a small group. If you say, well, there's not really a small group that I want to get involved with. You know, I don't want to show up to Kingdom Men on Thursday nights at 6 o'clock because I'm tired after work. I don't want to show up to these other small group meetings because I'm not old enough to go to Joy Fellowship, you know. I would ask you, what do you like? What do you like? Think about what you like. I'll ask you that. If you say, I like Proverbs, I'd like to get together with people and discuss Proverbs. Or I like Galatians, I'd like to get together and talk to somebody about Galatians. Or I like painting. I like to paint. That's a small group. Whether it be canvas or houses. I like fishing. I've said that a few times. And if you say, yeah, that'd be a good idea, I'll tell you, hey, where should I meet you? If you like something, chances are somebody in this church likes it also. So start a small group. I'll encourage you. I'll support you. We'll get it going. And you know what? Usually there's churches that have like a small group season. We're going to meet right here. And no, whenever you come to me and say, hey, I would like to start a small group, I'll go, okay, let's do it. We don't have to wait. Let's do it. It's just those who are willing to come together and work as a team. That old cliche, teamwork makes the dream work, right? In your notes, teamwork is the ability to work together towards a common vision. It's the willingness to sacrifice for the benefit of the team. It's the avenue that allows common people to attain uncommon results. And it's less of me and more of we. Worship team, y'all can come. We need to be an unstoppable church that thrives, that lives, that breathes, and engages in an unstoppable community. Amen? Would you stand with me this morning?